welcome back, HRL race fans. We're here for part 2 of the Mike Monahan series here at the Quarantine Questionnaire. If anybody deserved 2 sessions, it's Mr. Mike Monahan. So here we go. How was Wheel of Fortune?
Awesome. I guessed a couple of them. I was good. I would have won like $4,000.
Nice.
I cheer for the bankrupt. I actually cheer for the bankrupts and the lose-a-turns. I love that part.
I like it when they screw up a bunch of times. Like there was one time the answer was New Zealand, and it had like new and land, right? And the first guy said New England. And then it goes to the next guy and he goes, New England? And Pat, no, still wrong. Their guy got New Zealand. I laughed. So I wanted to touch on a little bit more about your family racing history, a little bit about your dad. When I was a kid, I was a fan of your dad. I used to watch him. He was in 2.5 at the time, and he had the Miss Flexmore, which was the Carruthers, before it became the Miss Dartmouth. And I know he had a lot of success in that class, but prior to that, I know he drove a lot of boats. So just in your memory, what do you remember about your dad and what kind of competitor he was and that kind of stuff?
Well, I remember there's just kind of a funny story is my dad raced stock outboards, D-stock hydro forever. And then, I went to the races and loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting close to 9. I'm going to get a J-stock. J-stock is going to happen. 1972, I turned 9. Dad buys an inboard.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, great. So we went inboard racing. But no, he was a fierce competitor. He was, we built a lot of boats, like some weird stuff. My dad was like always experimenting. We built a 7-liter around a Staudacher 3-liter, which was quite interesting. A boat inside a boat. No, just had a lot of fun. That was my growing up and spending time with my dad was like, it was the best. I got to race him a few times before his injury, and that was pretty cool. He was always faster, and I was just learning. We built a boat together for me, and it was the best time of my life. You're just hanging with your dad. And he drove a lot of boats, like GPs, kind of like me, drove GPs and kind of all kinds of stuff. But it was, you always remember those times when you're hanging with your dad.
Yeah. I remember I was a kid. I believe when he was hurt, I was like 12 or 13 years old. And I remember him saying all the time that he was going to drive until he couldn't do it anymore. He loved the sport so much.
Yeah.
And did he run into the bridge in Cocan?
Yes, the rudder broke on the Canadian Girl, which was the former Sudden 7 by Howie Benz. And I wasn't there that weekend, but I think I was doing a hockey, like, summer camp for junior hockey or something like that. And he was going up the backstretch and the rudder broke and it was just hold on. And he hit the bridge and there's all jagged rocks every place. And he fell out of the boat and there was one little sandy part. Landed on that. So I was watching over him that day, and it was it ruined the boat. It was a classic, especially when it was a Sudden 7, and it was just something happened, parts failure, and away he went. But he was an interesting. I think I got a lot of my dad's traits, because he was a pretty funny guy, and I always liked to have a good time, and it was kind of cool. It was really cool. That was the best part of my life.
Well, I always like to look back on racers that are from multiple generations and hear their stories about their parents or grandparents. And I know my dad drove outboards for like a couple seasons, and even those stories are super cool, right? So your dad was super fun to watch, and I miss him. So I just thought we'd give him the respect,
Yeah, me too, man. I miss him every day, So, but he was a good guy. I could tell you some stories, but this is PG shit, so I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you.
I wanted to get your you're known as a driver that is a fierce competitor, but you're also good on equipment. You don't wreck stuff. You don't put stuff where it shouldn't go. you know, and I've kind of tried to emulate that in my career with being good with equipment and putting it where it needs to go before you have to drive it too hard. What does it take to have that kind of a mindset? I mean, it's tough,
First,
right?
yeah, the first thing is that to get that mindset, you have to experience ownership. I mean, my up until 2008, I owned all my own stuff, and you had to repair it, you had to pay for it. So, you had to be very precise when you were racing. And if you missed it, you missed it, and you lived to go another day. Especially in the stock classes, you if you got behind it, you're kind of done. You tried hard, but you saved your stuff and went on to the next heat. And it's the same thing driving for Ronnie and BJ. And it's, if you make a mistake, and you're not going to drive around the outside of anybody. You can, perhaps keep the pressure on and hope that they have, some kind of issue, or, you might get lucky that he makes a mistake, but you always keep the pressure on. But, I respect their equipment, and they spent a lot of time and a lot of money on this stuff for me to go out and, screw it up and run into somebody, or, hook the boat, or, blow it over for, you have to pick you have to be very precise, but you have to pick your times. And sometimes you just go, you're coming up there and you're late, and you're going, this isn't going to be good. And, you drive according to the conditions, and you move on. And, it served me well. I've saved a lot of stuff, and, I want to win. Everybody wants to win. That's what we're out there for. We're all type A personalities. You want to be number one. Sometimes as you get a little older, you look at it and you go, okay, I might get a second in this heat. I'm going to save the equipment. Boom, 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 make some changes, and we go out and do it again. Some people just, if they don't experience the ownership part of it, I think it's hard to, take care of the equipment, because it's not costing you any money. I know how, you did too, how much it costs. For me to go out and do something stupid to Ron or BJ's boat, it's just like, why? So you just pick your times, but you got to make sure you're good. I treat racing like sales. I'm only as good as my last day of sales, and I'm only as good as my last heat. All right. Especially when you drive for other people, and, you always want to be good. You always want to be in there, but there's so many good drivers. You have to be perfect.
Yep. No, I agree. And just learning that field, every boat's a little different, right? So sometimes you don't get an opportunity. I think that might be part of it with some of the drivers that just drive whatever they can as hard as they can. They're worried about losing their ride, right? So you have to have an owner that understands too, right? So I've been lucky. I've had owners that understand that it takes time to get the feel of a boat, and then once you get it, then you go for it, But
Exactly. And Ron's like, we'll look at the conditions and look at what lane we have, and Ron will say, okay, man, just, be safe, bring it back, and, obviously if there's that opportunity to, put the boat out front, I'm going to do it. But he's and same with BJ, they're very, they both work hard at what they do. And, you want to respect the stuff that they give you. I'm very lucky that I've been put in these situations, and, only boat I wrecked, I think, was Hootie's boat 3 times, but, I was nothing I did. I got hit in Havasu. I hit the big infamous roller in Tonawanda the first turn, and the boat needed to be rebuilt, so I forced him into rebuilding it because it was broken everywhere. Stuff like that. So,
yeah.
We had the incident with the 35 when the steering messed up, and other than that, it's been pretty good, man. I mean, I'm a very lucky guy, and that's why I want to do the best every time I get in the boat.
Yep. No, that makes sense. And that's a good way to be. I want to touch on, your fans in HRL, and a lot of people that watch these videos. We have a big following, right? So they all know who you are. But you also have had a great APBA career over the years, and especially recently, you had the opportunity to drive a different boat than anybody else has for a great owner. So I want to give BJ the respect of having you talk about him for a bit.
Sure.
I'm a big fan of BJ because I think he started this whole thing with social media by doing his one of the 5 podcasts that he started, get people interested in the sport. So kudos to BJ for all of that. I mean, this is all part of just an extension of what he's doing. So talk to me about BJ, your national mod, that experience.
Well, it was kind of interesting because Einar Glacius built the boat and it got sold to Mike Movinsky, I guess, and they ran for a couple of years and it was sitting out there, and BJ tracked it down, right, and bought it back, and he started working on it. And I think one of the things that BJ did is that it kind of brought the family back in the sport, because, you know, Bernie, his dad, had kind of drifted out. Einar, you know, would go to the odd race, and then this thing became like a family affair. And they asked me to drive, and I was like, yeah, sure. This is awesome. It didn't conflict with HRL, and you know, I talked to Ron. He said, yeah, you know, but it's probably one of the coolest boats I've ever driven. It was way ahead of its time. Einar built it. I mean, I think it's 24 or 5 years ago. It's solid as a rock, you know, and they do all the stuff themselves. Einar does the motors, and we argue about setup and stuff like that, but it's really cool because you come back and then you get to talk to Einar and PJ and Bernie, and we've made the boat go faster and faster every time it's gone out, right? And they've given me, you know, they're a lot like Ron, just doing it a little different way, but they've given me everything I need to put that boat out in front, and we did it last year. You know, we won pretty much every event, and it was kind of cool. Got me, you know, something that I thought of years ago when I had my own boat, and I chased it, you know, high points championship in APBA, and all the, just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I didn't have the cubic dollars to do it, to travel all over the place. And you know, we got it. I got in the Hall of Champions. We won high points, and you know, the U.S. Nationals. That was my 3rd one, and you know, Eastern Divisionals. It was a pretty cool experience, and watching the whole family get involved and move that thing, getting it faster and faster and faster. Are we as fast as the Bird? No, but I mean, anybody else that I think we can run with, you know.
Yep.
We raced down in Florida. We dropped the valves. So we chased it all weekend. There was nothing we could do. And yeah, would have been interesting to see if the boat was, you know, running really well in Florida. It would have been good. But you know, it's a lot of fun. You know, both teams are fun. I mean,
Yep.
I'm a lucky guy, especially when you get to be my age, and you know, everybody is waiting for me to make that big mistake to, you know, jump into the GP. You know, it's going, the time is coming, but you know, I have a couple of things that I need to fulfill. Ronnie's given me everything that I need to do it this year. And, you know, I was really looking forward to this year. I was like pretty hyped about it. You know, the COVID thing, it came along, and, you know, here we are. But, you know, next year I'll be ready.
Yep.
And same with BJ, you know, I mean, we just decided, you know, go back and go through everything and get it ready for next year. But it's a lot of fun hanging out with BJ's family, you know, Sherry and Gretchen, you know, Einar's wife. We have a lot of fun. They, you know, just like Ron and Sandy, Dawn, my girlfriends, come into the sport, and that's the beautiful thing about this sport, man. You know, they embrace people, and that's why we love it.
No, I agree. I got a chance to meet BJ for the first time face to face down in Lakeland, and what a great guy. And the boat is super trick too. Like, he's done some neat stuff to it. I was really impressed with it. So it was just cool to see something different, somebody trying something new and being successful with it. And I got a chance to meet his mother too. And I believe it was Einar's wife. They were sitting off to the side.
Yeah, it's Gretchen.
Yeah, Gretchen. Yeah, and I was talking to them. And great people, man. Like, that's what the sport's
about. Oh my God, yeah.
Right? So,
oh yeah, and you know, but the boat is definitely fun to drive, and it's fun coming in and, you know, decompressing and going through everything. And you tell Einar something, and you tell Bertie something that's doing this and this, and then you change it and it goes better, and it's cool. It's just like the GP. I come in and go, hey, it's doing this and this, and you know, Steve and everybody there. Just that's what I love about racing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's neat because you just keep meeting more and more great people. So
Absolutely.
I just wanted to give BJ those kudos because, you know, he's younger than me, so I never really talked to him much
Yeah.
until he started this 1 to the 5 thing, and he asked me
Yeah.
to be on his show, and it was a lot of fun. So, great guy, and I'm glad he's being able to kind of fulfill his dream of owning a boat. And
Yeah, he's a super guy, man.
yeah, I think he wants to drive too, but I don't know if he.
Oh, I've been bugging him to drive. Get in there. You know,
Yeah.
Einer made that cockpit big enough for Einer. BJ can fit in there, so it's not a problem. I'm swimming in there, you know.
Yeah. Well, Mike, what would you say your favorite sport is other than boat racing?
Oh, shit. I'd say snowmobiling, but you know, I don't know if you classify that as a sport other than racing. Obviously, you know, I like hockey. You know, it's a Canadian thing. We all like hockey. There's only one team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, you know,
I wasn't going to ask you your favorite team because I knew.
Well, I was going to tell you.
Oh man.
Habs suck, by the way. All right, Frank.
Hey, everybody's got a chance. It starts this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So, okay, the Leafs your favorite team. That's really unfortunate, but, you know, we'll see what happens. So if you had a chance to go to New Zealand, I imagine that you would.
Oh, absolutely. I talked about it, you know, with Jack and work, and it was an open invitation. It's just, you know, a matter of finding the time, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have unlimited holidays, you know, vacation days. You know, I have to build them around racing, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, I will definitely be down there. I don't know when, you know, I don't know if I'll drive or whatever, but, you know, I want to go down. I've always wanted to go there. So, you know, kind of cool hanging out with the Luptons.
It would be cool. Now, which boat would you drive?
Oh, I'd probably drive Ken's because, you know, I think it has a lot of potential, and I don't know if it's reached this potential yet. Hey, Ken?
Well,
yeah.
it's
I'd probably be in Warwick's lobster boat because they want me to drive it. So,
yeah,
you know,
that'd be a
would be
neat
cool.
one to drive. It would be a neat one to drive too. I mean, when you look at Ken's boat, it came right out of the box and just smoked everybody. So I don't know if Jack was down on power or what the deal was, or if Ken was really just that strong. But wow.
I don't know. I mean, I go back to when Bert built my 2.5, the Orange Rush, the second, you know, that out of the box won its first like 8 heats until we had, you know, some fuel pump issues. And I think over time, when you build enough of these, you know, you can dial them in. He knows where the balance points are. He knows where the fin setup is. He knows where to put the rudder. He knows the strut depths. He knows propeller size. And I think, you know, that was a big advantage, you know, when that boat came out of the box. So, you know, and I expect that with Frank Richardson's and Jeff's and Kent's boat, the 444. It's gonna be fast out of the box, you know, and you know everybody's fast, and that's what I said. I go back to my first part of the conversation. You gotta be freaking perfect, you know, if you're gonna win.
100%, man. It's everybody's just such great competitors. Speaking of competitors, I know you're a fan of other racing as well. Who's your NASCAR driver?
Well, you know, I go back to Dale Sr. I mean, I think everybody liked him, and you know, then I followed Junior, you know, and then I'd have to say right now, they're gonna hate it, but you know, Kyle Busch. I mean,
I don't hate it.
You know, but you know, he's you know, he just wins, you know what I mean? And you got to respect that. You might not like, it's like Trump, you might not like what he says, but you know, you want to win, right? And you know, I think Chase Elliott's going to be a force to reckon with, you know, over the years. Feel bad for Jimmy Johnson. I'd like to see him get one more win and get in the playoffs before he retires, but I can't see that happening right now, the way they're running.
Yeah, he's had some bad luck too this year, and I don't know if he's got it anymore. I'd love to say that he does. He was always my favorite driver, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to have that killer instinct right now.
I think it's partly equipment, you know, and crew chiefs, and you know, you run in the middle of the pack, you're gonna, you know, it's just like us. You run in the middle of the pack, shit's gonna happen, right? So, You know, he's got to get it out front. You got to be Denny Hamlin. You got to be Kyle Busch. You got to be Chase Elliott right now if you want to win.
Yeah, no, I agree. So do you lift weights?
No, I mean, I sell paint. I lift a lot of paint. I mean, today I took the delivery van and dropped off 30 pails of paint and carried them out. I mean, carried them up 2 flights of stairs and, set them in there. So, I mean, yeah, I don't sit down and crank the old weights there. You know what I mean? No, but no, I'm okay.
Yeah, you do a lot of functional fitness stuff, like the snowmobile keeps you in shape.
Well, yeah.
Do
you think Andrew Tate lifts weights? Do you really think Andrew lifts? I don't think Andrew lifts weights.
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so. No. Absolutely
not. So what about soap or body wash? What do you use?
Oh, body wash.
Body wash.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you manscape?
Well, yeah.
Right.
Oh my God. You know why? Because your deck looks bigger if you trim the bushes. I got a big deck. It's got a curve in it, but if you trim the bushes around your deck, it's good.
Helps you out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's good.
I said deck. I said deck. D-E-K. D-E-C-K.
Nice to have a big deck for sure.
Yeah, everybody needs a big deck.
What would you say your favorite TV show is?
Easy. South Park.
Yeah. It's
the only show that I can watch by myself and actually laugh out loud. Like almost most of the episodes, and just their humor and the spin that they put on events that go on in the world, it just makes me laugh. I mean,
they've got to be licking their lips right now.
Oh my God, this is great. I haven't watched it. I like to see some Joe Biden stuff. You know what I
mean? Me too. There's a lot of that stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how they spin the whole BLM movement and Antifa.
It's going to be good.
So,
yeah.
Okay. What about movie? You have a favorite movie?
I don't know. There's a lot of them. I liked Interstellar. I watched that the second time about a month ago. I watched it in a year. That was really cool. The old movies, Apocalypse Now, Blues Brothers, some classics. But, I mean, I've watched, since there's no racing, I've watched about everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you do? I'm trapped up in Sudbury.
Yeah, actually, my wife would love to come up there and visit because she went to university there.
Come on up.
Yeah, I'm sure she could show you around the sites because they spend a lot of time up there. So. Yeah. So, and her and Jen, actually, Bert's wife as well.
Yeah, I already know about that one.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about Valleyfield specifically. Back in the day, I was there my whole life, so I have a recollection of what it was like in the 80s, but I was really young. So I'm just wondering what it was like then compared to now. Has it changed? Was it better then? Is it better now? What's your idea?
God. So I think the racing is on par. You have your good years, you have your bad years, but you go back into the 80s in the campground, that was insane. That stuff went all night. I remember sleeping in a tent with somebody, and there's bikers out there literally 6 feet away from me doing burnouts at 4 a.m, and there was just massive beer cans and beer bottles everywhere, and the bikers brought in that flatbed trailer, and they had a band up there. It was insane. You know what I mean? They've tamed it down, but back in the 80s and the 90s, it was oh my God, party central. You really had to get out of the way to get some sleep, So, but as far as the racing goes, I think the racing now, other than, in the 88 when they had the Worlds and the U.S. Nationals, and you had a bazillion 5 liters and, 50 friggin' 2.5s. I think the racing now is just as good, or if not better. I mean, you know, you look what we have in HRL, you know, we don't have any old boats, you know, everything is relatively new, you know, so, yeah, no, it's the racing probably a bit better. Parties are probably you know, a little less, which is good for me. But you know, now, you know, with us doing breathalyzers, Ronnie at 10:30, if I have a beer in my hand, he grabs my beer and sends me into the motorhome, and I jump up in the bed, and first I go to the fridge and get out a Klondike bar, chew on that. I might have to. All right. But I'm in bed by, you know, 10:30, 11, and, you know, watch TV, and yeah, Sunday night in Valleyfield's our night, you know, when we can kind of let loose.
Yeah,
the
Sunday nights,
so,
especially
Sunday night
if you have a buddy that wins, it's really great, you know, because
exactly.
even if they don't, but if you have a good buddy that wins, it's always fun.
Yeah. Well,
I remember one year we were there. It was I think it was 88. We were camped up in the park. That's how many campers were there. You know, like it extended up top. It was crazy, man. I think there was like 8 heats of GPs or something like that. It was craziness.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
But I mean, there was probably only half a dozen fast ones. Like there was a lot of older stuff.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, I can remember when the pits were down where and a lot of people can, where the marina is, and you used to be able to, they have a walkway going across the marina, so you wouldn't have to go all the way around to get to the point. They did that for a few years. So I'd finish my 2.5, and I'd run across and watch, you know, GPs or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, you know, I had to make the big walk. Now we can't see shit. So
yeah, I know. Well, that's what I remember as a kid, was watching all the drivers come over from the pits, and I get their autograph because it was right there. You know, they were always over at the point watching. I miss those days. I don't think it would work now.
No.
But it was awesome. You know, it was a lot of good times. The other thing I want to touch on with you is safety, and really how far that's come, and why, and what your thoughts are on it.
Well, it's come a long way. I mean, I feel perfectly safe in the GP. I mean, Brandon and George and Ronnie have, you know, really made that a really safe cockpit for me. I mean, for years I had the capsule, but I never wore air. You know what I mean? I just was not that guy, right? You know, I thought this is how stupid I was. I was worried about weight, you know, so if I didn't have to put the air bottle in and stuff like that, no, seriously, I was like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I wasn't like, you know, Mark Johnson, 110 pounds, you know, I'm 180 pounds. So you're always worried. And then when they mandated it, which was great, the head restraints, I mean, I don't think I'd jump into a boat without a head restraint on now. You know, I've had some pretty good accidents, and, you know, in Hootie's boat in the 35, and I had the Hans on both times, and no problems, you know. I drove a flat bottom for half a season without a capsule. Never again. I would never do it, you know. It's just, it's easier to drive the boat, you know what I mean? Because you're not moving around, and that helps. But yeah, no, safety's come a long way. You know, we've had a roll cage in the GP, and there's a roll cage in the national mod. You know, those things are very important. I mean, the safety thing is great. I mean, and they're making improvements every day, you know. So
yeah, that's the one thing that for me, I never drove a boat outside of a capsule. So
yeah,
when I watch videos of that, it's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I don't know how
it saved my life,
and
like a couple times, you know.
A couple times.
Yeah. So
I can't believe you watch some of those old videos with JP and Howie and
I know,
and Robert Thurett, and you're like, dude, how do you guys do that? Larry Lauterbach, I mean, unbelievable. Like, wow, you know, and you know, throw it into that tight turn, and crazy.
So many guts. So,
yeah,
you know, I'm super thankful for it, and I know that like with Henderson Hydroplanes, they're working extremely hard too to make things safer. So it's just good to see that they never give up on getting it better. You know, they
Right.
don't just stick with what you got because it's pretty good. Let's get it to the best. You know, so I like seeing that.
Well, when you look at it, Bert and Jamie and those guys are pretty much the only guys that are doing anything right now. I mean, Claude's done some work, not too much. You know, I don't know what's going on out west. I mean, you know, it wasn't for Henderson Hydroplanes, and you know, where would we be? You know, I mean, who knows?
Well, yeah, let's touch on that for a minute because, you know, when I was growing up, he started to come in around 96, maybe 95, 96.
I think it was 94 or 5.
Okay. And
Yeah,
so
around there, yeah.
Jamie brought the design in a little bit before that.
Yeah, with the Export A.
Yep. Now, I mean, if you look at the field of boats now, especially in HRL, it's got to be 90%.
Well, you look at GP, there's 3 boats that aren't built by Bert, right?
Right.
Well, 4. Yeah, 4.
Is
So
it
you
4?
got the
Yeah.
14, you got Scott Litko's boat, you got Tommy
Right.
Thompson's boat, and our boat. So 4 boats out of that. So whether there's 11. So, you know, he's got 50% of that. You know, 5 liter, I think is still probably, I think it's probably 60, maybe 65, 35, you know, in favor of him, I'm guessing. 2.5, it's all him, you know.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think there might be one hull in 2.5
yeah,
that isn't a Henderson. So
yeah,
pretty much
exactly.
curb the market. But at the same time, you have to be able to put out that equipment, you know, every year. It's a labor of love. I mean, so it's good to have guys that are still doing it. And that when I interviewed Owen, I said, like, thank God you're learning this stuff. So we need somebody to be doing it. You know,
Yeah,
I couldn't build
exactly.
a hydro, so you know. So there was another thing I wanted to ask you is about your dancing skills. Because the last time I saw you dance, it was pretty impressive. So when are we going to see that again? If you win Valleyfield,
Hey,
maybe?
man, if, you know, I have enough beer into me and there's a dance-off circle and they play the right tunes, it's on.
You were
Yeah.
bringing out the Stifler moves and everything. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, a little Pulp Fiction. And, I mean, I've got some new moves, man. I've been working on them, you know, in my basement. Yeah.
It was Pat Hewitt's brother who could move.
Oh, yeah, that was a good dance-off.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. And he's like 20 years younger than me, and I think I kicked his ass.
Yeah, it was good, man. I was just shocked because there's no way you'd ever see Pat Hewitt go out there and dance. And then and his brother was just all over the dance floor.
Oh, yeah.
You came up and like pointed at him. It was awesome. That was a good night.
Yeah, that was a good night in Niagara Falls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
What's your favorite food on race weekends, Mike?
I'm like a lot of guys. I don't eat a lot. You know what I mean? I'll have, you know, a couple coffees in the morning, and then Dawn will cook up, like she starts cooking for the team now, so we'll have a breakfast sandwich. And then at night, we usually have, you know, something good, steak or whatever. But during the day, just tons of water. And, you know, if it's like, you know, I'll look at the weather before a weekend, and, you know, if it's going to be a scorcher, you know, I'll start hydrating on Wednesday. I'll just drink water. So I don't want to be dehydrated. It's happened to me once at a race, and it was just like not good, right? So, you know, I probably drink 12 bottles a day on a hot day and at any given race site. So
yeah,
but yeah,
that dehydration's scary stuff. So
yeah, ask Joe Sove.
yeah, it's terrifying. There was a couple guys in the NASCAR races too last week that were passing out afterwards. It's like 150 degrees in the car. So imagine with us and right into the sun when we're not moving. It's got to be about that. So, well, listen, Mike, I've had a ton of fun interviewing you. I really appreciate you doing it. I know the fans like it. They appreciate it. So thank you. We look forward to you winning the championship next year.
Steve-O, thank you for doing this. Thanks to HRL and, you know, doing the French side too. I watch it, but I don't understand it. But, no, it's really cool to sit down and chat with you. We've been friends since I've known you since you were like 5 years old. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty easy. We have lots of laughs when we get together. So yeah, no, thanks, man. It's been fun.
Absolutely. So let's have a couple pops this weekend. I know you're coming down to Brockville, so we can socially distance beers.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. I'll have my own cooler, so bite me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Cheers.
Okay, pal.
Have a good one.
Yeah, see you, man.
Bye.
Bye.